right, we're here today with Erskine Levi, one of our candidates for the nomination for president of the American Solidarity Party. Uh, we will be going over just a few get-to-know-you questions. Erskine, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. It's Monday, first day of the week, and had my coffee. The world is safe now. Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and just dive right in.
Okay.
First question is just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to find and join the American Solidarity Party.
Sure. Well, as you know, my name is Erskine Levi. I'm a junior, so there's somebody at the other side of the United States in North Carolina who's my dad, and he's still kicking, so he's a senior. I've been married to my wife Heather for just this past January. We're 40 years. Got married kind of young, and no, we didn't have a shotgun to our heads, so we fell in love at high school and high school sweethearts. That's the way it worked.
Good.
I have two sons, Matthew and Joseph. Joseph's the oldest at 33. Matthew's 28. They're both on the autistic spectrum, just in case anybody ever asks. Let's see. I'm a former conservative. Well, not former. I'm still a conservative, a former Republican. I switched over to the American Solidarity Party and went to 2020 election. Uh, Unfortunately, I was taking care of my stepdad, and I was up in his house in Bishop. But it was during the time during the pandemic that we were teaching all our classes online, so it didn't really matter where I was. But being on the computer that long, my wife mentioned to me, "You want to check out this American Solidarity Party that she heard about?" And I did. I kind of fell in love with it, and I joined you guys that year. So I'm glad I did. So that's pretty cool. But with that, I'll probably get back to that in a second. I am a former police officer with Monrovia PD and Pomona PD, military police officer for 3 years in the United States Army. And with that Army I had mentioned, I was in the Army totally for over 20 years, military police, armored cavalry, and military intelligence out of the whole 20-year time span. I did part of that was full time, and part of that was National Guard, and part of that was reserve. So it's a total conglomeration of all that. It's in the National Guard. I was activated for the 1991 riots of Los Angeles. So I stomped the streets of Los Angeles for a good month. I was the Delta Company commander towards the end of that, so I helped. Do that. Then I got called up for the 1994 Northridge earthquake. So our National Guard unit got called up for that, and for the 1995 California floods. So I have a lot of experience with disasters and things that happen in the state of California, man-made and/or natural. Let's see. My highest actual rank I got out of the military after 20 years was the rank of captain. So I started from private and made it all the way to the rank of captain. And then in there somewhere, I was acting lieutenant colonel for about 3 weeks for a warfighter exercise in 1991. So they promoted me ahead of my time, I guess, for 3 weeks, then got busted back down to the rank I was. Let's see. Currently, I am a social science teacher. I've been teaching social science, U.S. history, world history, economics, and United States government for, oh my goodness, with Baldwin Park Unified School District for, this is my 28th year that I've been doing that. I did spend 2 years before that at a Catholic school, taught religion, ancient history, and a little bit of language arts, because it's a little bit different at a private school. While I've been in Baldwin Park, I've also, for about 3 years, taught public services because I have my police background. I got credentialed to teach public service, law enforcement, emergency services. So I got to do that for a little while. Let's see. I'm a former adjunct professor with two different colleges. I taught criminal justice, teacher education, and humanities. So I did that. My political career. I was a former elected position with the what do they call that? Elected as the 48th Assembly District Republican back when I was Republican Central Committee. It's a committee position. I actually was on one of those little voting ballots, and I got 6,400 votes to become a member of that committee in San Gabriel Valley of California. And there's it's like not the rock bottom, but it's like it's one of the lower level elected positions. But I got to dabble in it. I got to get my feet wet. I got to meet and hobnob with a whole bunch of people running for office, for Secretary of State, for governor. So I learned a lot in that 4-year term. Myself, I've also been a congressional candidate for the 31st District of California as a write-in candidate for Congress. And I don't know if you know Dr. James Hannick, but I was a political advisor during his gubernatorial run in 2020 and 2021, trying to recall Governor Newsom. And I have been a former campaign manager for 2 different congressional candidates in my past. I've been a political advisor for 2 different state representative candidates in my past. And I did work for State Senator Bob Huff as a field representative, and they call it the ambassador program. So I had a badge that said ambassador/field rep. And my job there was to go to events because the state senator couldn't go to everything. So we had a few of us ambassadors that would go to an event, hand out awards, give a short little impromptu speech, shake their hands, get pictures taken. Everybody was really happy. I had a badge, so they liked that kind of stuff. That was good. So I got to help out a state senator for a little while. And let's see. And right now, I'm also a fourth degree Knight with the Knights of Columbus. And past positions I have held was a former Grand Knight, financial secretary. So let me see what else is there. And right now, I'm running for president of trying to get the nomination for the American Solidarity Party. And I mentioned earlier that I found the ASB while doing computer work, and I joined it. And ever since then, and that's all she wrote. I believe, in my view, that God is a conservative, not necessarily that it has anything exactly the same as a Republican, but it's still God is a conservative. And I like the platform for the pro-life, pro-family, and what else? Pro-environment. I liked all those aspects of it. And yes, you can find that in the Republican Party, but I think it was really highly emphasized in the American Solidarity Party, and I went that direction. So that's why I'm with the American Solidarity Party. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, just to bring things a little more current, I know you've done several things with the party over the last couple years. Could you tell us a little bit about your official involvement with the ASP since you've joined?
Yes, since I joined, being a historian and being that I teach U.S. government and I've been in elected positions, I've been publishing articles with the American Solidarity Party. You can find them all online. And the articles that I did publish to help out us to learn how to delve into politics more was I recently did what they call a political roadmap. So this is if you want to run for office, you might want to do these things. I wrote a little thing, and you want to become a city commissioner because many people don't even know that that is a position. Maybe never heard of it. So hold on, bell's ringing. It's gonna make noise. Sorry. So as I was saying, a city commissioner is usually an appointed position, but it is still political. So I wrote a paper on how you can do that, what the best way to do it, how to get involved with your city, and to become a part of helping your city grow and live. And that would be a city commissioner position. I have put out an outline for an ASP campaign plan. If you're going to run for office, they would like you to make a campaign plan. What is your plan for raising money? What is your plan for using volunteers? What is your demographics of the area you're running for? What's the makeup of the political atmosphere? And that's all part of the plan. So I put out an outline of that ASP campaign plan. I also put out a paper talking about the variety of elected positions, all from federal, state, and local levels. Many people don't know about them. So I kind of spelled out all the different possibilities, all the different things you can run for, just in case they didn't know. I had a lady on Facebook, she mentions, well, I'm running for city council. Does that really? Yes. Every level, local, state, Federal level, running for the ASP and the ASP ticket for a city council counts. It's just a local position, and we need everybody to do every level. And I also put out a paper for benefits for entering a political race early. There's a lot of benefits. If you look at that, you'll find out what they are. And I hope it will help people say, well, I don't want to wait till the last second. I want to use these benefits of running early, so they might want to, announce early. So I've been putting out papers. Besides the papers, I've also been, and I mentioned it before, on the political campaign of Governor James D. Hannock. He was running for governor of California, and myself running for Congress myself. So since I became an ASP member, I've been active with the American Solidarity Party with those things that I just mentioned.
Okay. And through all that, at some point, you decided that you wanted to run for president of the United States to get our nomination. What made you decide that you wanted to run?
Okay, well, a combination of current events, things going on in the world, of things that are not working right under this current administration, and a little bit of frustration. And it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure I can do a really good job. I'm not going to tout myself in the back. I'm not going to be prideful about it or anything like that. But I think with my background, my experience, I'm pretty sure I could do a better job than the current administration right now. So that's where I'm coming from. So I believe, and I mentioned before, God is conservative, but not like in a Republican sort of way. As Pope Francis put, he loves the sinner but hates the sin. So that's kind of where I come from, being conservative. God gives us free will to make moral, ethical decisions. God just wants us to choose correctly and wisely. That's what he wants us to do. We will have to answer to our decisions later in life. And you know what I'm talking about. Everybody is at some point in life, hopefully later than sooner, will die. And you're going to have to come in front of the Creator and explain why you did or why you didn't do things that you should or shouldn't have done. I'm very concerned about our nation, the direction it's going. And I need to help bring that back to the right direction, in a good direction, a moral, ethical direction. The current president says he's Christian, and more specifically says he's Catholic. I do not see evidence of that in his outward motions, his outward appearance, his outward getting the job done, as you would say, his speeches, his talk. In fact, all of his legislation and all of his things that he have passed as a senator in the past and as the vice president goes to the opposite of what he says he is. And in my case, you cannot separate your Christian faith from your politics. I defy you to find anywhere in the Constitution that says separation of church and state. No, that was in a letter by Thomas Jefferson, and it said in this case there'll be separation of church and state in the case that he was talking about. And somehow they ran with that and said it's in the Constitution. It is not there. There is freedom of religion, but not freedom from religion. That's two different words, of, not from. And I think that if you are a rational, God-fearing person, your decisions will be based on your morals and ethics and your Christianity, or basically whatever faith you belong to. So I understand people are in this American Solidarity Party who may or may not be Christian. They might be Islamic. They might be Jewish because they're looking for the religious freedom aspect of it. So I'm guessing if you're a real person, man or woman, you'd be basing your decisions on your religion. So I don't see a separation. I don't see a difference. The beliefs that I have can be garnered or enforced as president of the United States and not have to worry about someone wondering, why are you doing? There's no litmus test. But I'm not going to separate my religion, my Christianity, from my job. It's not going to happen. And I kind of mentioned the president isn't handling foreign domestic policy. I am not a warmonger. Yes, I was in the Army for 20 years. But being that I was in the military for 20 years, I don't want a war. I am not personally a combat veteran, but I know what's happened. I know war is bad. People die. I do not want one. Diplomacy would be my first act. Peace would be my ultimate goal. But in the meantime, I will not take any gruff from anybody. If anybody attacks our country or one of our friends, they're going to have to answer something. Now, mind you, I don't want people to death. I said diplomacy would be about first, but hopefully proactive leadership instead of reactive leadership would be my goal. When I get into office, I would talk to the other countries and tell them this is what's going to happen. This is what will, right, let's hope so we can be friends. And maybe you don't want to do something like that. And we can maybe stave it off any kind of bad situations as we can. There are some countries that are doing atrocities to their own people. Why are we trading with them? Why are we doing anything? Why aren't we enforcing more sanctions on them? Do we have to wait for them to attack something? That's what I'm talking about. I don't think we have to wait for them to do something. Again, proactive leadership, not reactive leadership. And I learned that when I was a police officer. You're out looking for the crime, not waiting for the crime to come to you. So proactive presidential leadership as opposed to reactive. I took a course on presidential appointments, and the president can appoint anywhere from 4,500 people to, 3,500 to about 4,000, maybe a little more. Not all of them are Senate confirmed. The cabinet positions, maybe the undersecretaries are all Senate confirmed, but there's thousands that aren't Senate confirmed that I could just appoint. And I'm one of those people that I believe you will not get appointed by me unless you actually know the area that I'm appointed for, unless you had some experience in it, not just political cronies, not to the people that maybe donated to my campaign. I mean, maybe there'll be something I can do, but I won't make it an appointment just because you gave me money. Yes, you better have some background in that, or I'm not appointing you. And my staff that would help those appointments, that would bring me the names. That's what I hope my staff would do, to bring me the names of the well-qualified people that can do the job. So I think with those political appointments, I'd be able to run my administration the way I'd like it, because they would all be doing what I want, my appointments. And so I think that's a good thing. So I'll introduce, I don't have to be a legislator. I will introduce legislation that has something to do with pro-life, pro-traditional family, pro-economy, pro-environment, anything that I can do. I will help introduce legislation, help push it through Congress. Anybody, you, anybody can introduce legislation. If it stops after that, well, then it just stops. But I can, but as president, I can push it through a little bit better, a lot easier, I would guess. So, and if I can't do it through legislation, well, I have the not on my watch attitude, and I can do those. What are those called? Executive orders. That's the word for it. Not only executive orders, but legislation, passing the executive orders, get things going, pro-life, pro-traditional family. That's what I would do. But I mean, at the same time, I also believe in social justice. I mean, we should help people out. I wouldn't be like, you do it all yourself, or you're just going to die all on your own. I wouldn't want to get rid of the welfare programs. I might want to streamline it, look at it, see where there's waste, maybe get it out. But I think all that stuff I just talked about is why I want to run for president, because I think with my background, well-roundedness, the place I come from, military commander-in-chief, I think I'll do a really bang-up job as president of the United States. But those are the real reasons why I want to run for president.
Right. One of the things we do see in the other parties, and it was definitely on display during the last cycle, but they tend to tear each other down. My next question, and you've talked about this a little bit here and there, so I'll just give you a chance to say anything specific on it. But what do you feel makes you the best candidate we have for president of the United States?
Me. I am not calling myself an expert, but I think the fact that I teach social sciences, I teach U.S. government, I have a military background, I have a law enforcement background, I teach world history, so world affairs, I teach U.S. history, what happens in our country, and economics. Again, I'm not like a hardcore economics bachelor's degree person, but I think a spattering of everything. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be hoodwinked. When I became captain, I would have sergeants who would come but sir, we can't do that. And I'd say, but I was enlisted like you. Don't tell me you can't do it because I did it. So get out there and do it. So, when they're coming to me again, I'll hire people that knows what they're doing. I'll hire I can't even talk, hire cabinet positions, presidential appointments that they're experts in. But when they're talking to me, I at least have the background that I'll know I'm not trying to be hoodwinked, or I'm going to say, wait a minute, what about this? I think someone that doesn't have that background doesn't make them a bad person. They'll have to learn quickly. But I think because of the background, I don't have to learn everything as I start. I can hit the ground running, and I can run right along the experts that I'll hire, and it'll be us doing it. So I think it's because of that. In my military background, commander in chief of the armed forces, I helped out generals. I wasn't a general, but knowing how generals work and being on their battle plans and warfighter exercising teams with the generals, and I've debriefed the generals, I know what generals do. If I had stayed in and not got out after 20 years, there could be a possibility I would have made at least colonel, if not general. But again, I didn't make it there. That's fine. But I'll be hitting the ground running with my background, not hitting the ground and then have to learn about it and then hope they're telling me the truth. So I think because of my background, I would make a very good president. So I can see that's why I'm best suited, because I already been there, done that. And I know these things. That's me. Again, everybody else that's on the ticket, I'm sure would make a good president of the United States. Just my background, hit the ground running and not hit the ground having to learn. That's why.
All right, thank you. And now on to our last question. What would you like to say to the people following the party who aren't members yet, but still have time to become a voting member in time to vote for you on May 24th?
All right, for all of you out there that is looking at the American Solidarity Party and you are thinking that that might be the party for you, stop sitting on the fence. Stop watching from afar. If the American Solidarity Party fits your beliefs, then come join us. Let's quickly take back America from those who are not suited to lead America. We need your help. Come help us. Do it quick and do it quickly and do it now, and take the initiative. Don't wait for me to come grab you and pull you off the fence. Okay? You will be glad that you did. Come with us. Help us. Let's do this. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of you with the debates and with the other events that we have scheduled.
Debates?
Yeah.
Just
They're coming up. We're about 3 weeks out from the first one now. Good luck on the trail.
thank you very much.
Thank you.